We are going to be talking about fan-made Project Moon TTRPGs, and more likely than not, why all of them are shit. One, we're going to start off with the D&D one, because I think it's going to be the worst of the three, because anything... Homebrew content for D&D is fucking hit or miss, and 9 times out of 10, they miss. If they were in fucking baseball, they would get shot on sight. That's how bad they are. All percentages are rounded down. All results of having is rounded down. Yeah, okay. All offensive feats that require an attack roll to hit unless specified otherwise. Unless they have an AoE. Okay. Feats that can be used with a bonus action can also be used with an action. Sure. Effects that reduce actions per turn will make you do less than one action. Okay. I don't think that's anything. I don't think that's anything. If an attack always hits, you still roll the d20, applying critical success as normal. That's just fucking pointless, bro. Effects that ignore AC from armors also ignore AC from natural armor. Bullshit. Can be played alongside normal D&D 5e stuff. I don't believe you. Abnormalities don't target each other with their effects unless they're fighting. This is a problem that I see in a lot of, StarCraft fish tanks, original PC, one perfect condition, I grabbed all the stuff one day. Jesus Christ. Are you okay, Leon? I know the answer is no. Ego equipment, one of the problems of, like, D&D homebrew content is that people are vague, and D&D requires you to be exact in your wording. There are a lot of instances of, like, are any of us okay? No. They're probably... You know, Frankie, I'm proud of you. But you also have to keep in mind that the people who are into Project Moon are more autistic than me. So I'm not sure what Project Moon even is. It is a series of... It is a company that makes a series of a handful of games. They've made 3 games. They made Lobotomy Corporation, which is an SCP, like, containment simulator, also known for cock and ball torture. It's mostly known for cock and ball torture. Library of Runa, a deck-building, fighting game thing that is also known for cock and ball torture. And Limbus Company, which is a gacha. Not much cock and ball torture in this one, weirdly enough. But it is my hyperfixation, Frankie. If you ever want to go through every stage of grief realizing that I am a fucking nerd, just ask me about it when I have downtime. Because I will info dump. I'm gonna, like, skim over stuff that, like, people who aren't into Project Moon would not understand, and simplify it. So when you interact with an abnormality, there's a chance that you get ego gear or ego equipment. You can also get trinkets and the like. Abnormalities are abominations created from the unconscious of human beings, but also dragged from the outskirts of the city to basically become monsters that you have to deal with, and you can harvest enkephalin from them, enkephalin being a, like, super drug, super energy source. There's 4 different things. Fortitude, equal to half the sum of your strength and con scores. For each level of fortitude, your max HP increases by 10. So... even if you're not doing, like, if you're doing, like, a very weird build, you'd have a minimum of 16, so you'd have 8, so you'd be Mark 3. That feels way too good. Prudence, half of your intelligence and wisdom, sure. Temperance, half of charisma and dexterity. Correction success increases by 1. So it basically increases the floor, okay. Equal to the sum of all your other levels. At level 3 and EX, your attack speed increased by 1, so increases your speed by 5 each level. A lot of conversions from other games to D&D 5e have the problem of adding more stats and numbers that you have to keep track of. I think everyone who has been at a table has had a problem with, there's a lot of shit going on and I have no idea what it is, and then they tune out and go into phone mode. Fortitude just encourages you to build Constitution even more. Another problem is, like, the 6 stats in D&D, there's not really a dump stat that you can safely go into. Arguably Intelligence. Well, like, for the most part, it's Intelligence or Strength. Those are, like, the 2 that most people drop. Each player has 100 max Sanity. Sanity can only be increased by Prudence. If you rest, it's fully restored. If you drop to 0, some abnormalities will kill you. Otherwise, you will do a thing. You'll either attack anything within near range, you'll stand still for a minute, then kill yourself, deal sanity, damage to other subjects in a 10-meter area, goes to the nearest abnormality and breaks it out. Suffering sanity damage from allies will instead heal you. If you heal back to full, you recover from your panic. If you reach 0 from your ego's effects, your panic will also lead to an ego corrosion. Ego corrosion, you turn into a monster. That's the short version of it. This is where I grab the author by the neck and shoot him in the face, by the way. These are all new status effects to keep track of. Also, these are all new damage types as well. We have Wrath, Lust, Gloom, Gluttony, and that's it. Staggered, another new status effect. Lower your defenses by 0.05, 0.5, and you get stunned, so fuck you. Talking about all the different sin types, talking about ego equipment, the thresholds in order to actually equip it. You can dual wield, sure. Different damage types, the threat levels, classification, which you don't really honestly need in this. Okay, so restores half of your max sanity to all party. So the good result just says everyone is healed. Cool. You are the party member, low sanity, heal 8 sanity at the start of your turn. Like, Don't Touch Me is a great example of how Project Moon games cannot come into, like, a tabletop RPG. Like, we are adding a large amount of, like, different mechanics to the game without, like, truly adding anything else to it. Like, it is saying, like, oh yeah, you can, like, do all of this in D&D 5e. But, like, 600 HP in 5e is a ridiculous number. And this is, like, the low tier baby. Like, these aren't formatted correctly for D&D. All D4, blah, 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 blah. Torch girl would become aggressive. That's an error. That should be on the screen. 300 red damage to every creature in a 25-foot area, eh? What is Ember? Like, people will put a lot of time and effort into making something that is basically illegible for D&D 5e. At the point you look at this and go, cool. Fighters become neutral to you. What the fuck does that mean? Like, I know what it means in-game, right? It means that the spiders in there are not going to, like, try to go on your feet and get you murdered by spider mode. But, like, does this just mean if you're in the fucking Underdark and you have that, one of the spiders will come up to you and be like, I don't give a shit about you, fuck off, and just walk away? Like, there is so much effort put into something like this. I can see that they love the game, but the only problem is that they went, D&D is popular, I'm going to put this in D&D. It is frustrating to see that this is so common for people to do. There are, like, countless things. Spider be like, I see nothing. I know you there, but I see nothing. Basically. Like, there is a large amount of effort. There's a large amount of love. Like, they're trying to make it so that, like, if you play this in a tabletop thing, it could work. The only problem is it doesn't. Like, there's all of these, like, abnormality events that link to other things. None of these link to anything correct. Schadenfreude here. Only acts if it's being looked at. If it isn't being looked at, freezes on the spot, double its resistances. Uses malicious gaze twice per turn, which is strikes target with one of its mechanical legs, dealing damage, and then blah, blah, blah. In the game, the way to beat Schadenfreude, you don't have the fucker on screen. Its literal entire gimmick is that it wants to be seen. It wants to have that inkling sensation that there is something there. Something that is waiting for you to look at it, so that it can punish you for it. You know what fucking sucks to fight in D&D? Basilisks. And fucking gorgons and shit. Wanna know the solution? Stop fucking looking at them. You have disadvantage on attacks. You know what doesn't work for this? That. It is frustrating, because I also enjoy Project Moon. This is also borked. That's borked, but we're not going to talk. That's very borked. He posted that 3 times for some reason. Okay. 4 times? 5 times. 6 times. 7 times. 8 times. 9 times. Okay, we're on a different thing now. 1 true damage and 4 paralysis. One, that's not a thing that Shock Centipede does. If you pour water on it, it just goes, ah, fuck it. And then beats the shit out of you. 1 true damage, eh? Like, if the armor says, if you have water spilled on you, you lose some shit, why doesn't the actual abnormality have that? Be consistent. Is this cute? Yes. Does it have a point? Fuck no. Like, they will make so many cool, like, different effects for all these abnos and try to make it, like, 1-for-1. Making something 1-for-1 for another game usually does not make it good. I would argue it makes it worse. There were people, like, posting a ton of, like, Monster Hunter monsters for D&D 5e. All of them were fine. The only problem is that Monster Hunter functions on a completely different axis to D&D, so they just don't work. It's both nice and sad at the same time to see, like, all this effort put in, and then seeing all of the holes that they forgot to patch up. Like, I'm not even talking about how we saw Schadenfreude 8 times there. Also, I have a draw for Schadenfreude coming up, where it's going to be Grim, like, pulling open the titty window, and it's just going to have a giant eye there. It's going to be fun. It's been on the list for a while, I just have not had the correct inspiration for it, and I want to learn how to draw eyes really good, so it's even more unnerving. Also, Drifting Fox. Alternates between using Raging Withdrawal and Sorrowful Recoil. Twice during its turn, it uses Cry, Seek something every 4 turns in addition to its normal attacks. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on to the 5th trumpet. Is everyone good? Has everyone had their juice? Has everyone had their snacks? Can you tell I'm on mobile? No, I cannot. Has everyone had their snacks? Has everyone gone to the bathroom? Do we need a bathroom break? Okay, so, from my understanding, this is made by people who have, I believe, done an entire playthrough of the game, or like a whole campaign, basically. I also know that this is, the air quotes, one of the better ones. It's supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim? In Project Moon, you are. Everyone's like, this is such a sad world. Why do you like it? And I'm like, that's the fucking point. Yeah, 5th Trumpet playlist on Cinephon's YouTube channel where you can watch over 100 hours of us playing through our own campaign. Hey, they do have a Twitch. And they are doing a stream of this tomorrow at 7 p.m. We gotta give respect to the creators, whether or not I like the game concept or not. I have not watched any of it. I'm basically going into this blind. I feel like that is the fairest way to view it as a system. Player characters distribute levels between the different stats. Fortitude, Temperance, Justice, Prudence. Cool. Putting levels in the 9 traits. 1-4. 22 levels to their skills. Okay, so we're doing Vampire the Masquerade at a glance. 2 people want to take on the role of Beholder. And then Agents. D10 system. Number of D10s or a digital dice roller. We highly recommend Foundry. Love that. Foundry is basically the crack cocaine of virtual tabletops. It is, I will say, probably the best virtual tabletop on the market. It's okay, I can read what you didn't say in between words. Okay. Everyone is just like, we all know what you were going to say. I'm like, thank you. Alright. Tabletop etiquette, how to play the game, lines and veil. Okay, we're just... Part of me wants to have to go over this. Part of me knows that I don't have to because everyone is adults here. If you've ever been to a table where they do not respect you as a person, just make sure that you are getting the fuck out of that table. When you are playing with other people, subtlety is for pussies, that's true. When you're playing with other people, be sure to respect any form of, like, things that they are cool with, things that they might be iffy on. One of the general things that I do in my games is, like, for the most part, you're not going to see people cheating. That's not going to be a mechanic in a mechanic or like a thing that I'm going to play with in any of my games. Will people be in relationships where they're not happy? Probably. Will they be cheating on someone else to make up for it? Probably not. I've been cheated on just once. Just once, but it was fucking gross and absurd. So if you're ever at one of my tables, unless it is a pre-run adventure, I'm not going to have something like that. That's like a full line that I have. Veils are like, we can dance around it, but we're not going to directly talk about it. Cinephon, deathly afraid of spiders. Yeah. They're basically talking about lines of veils. It's one of the basic things. I also use the red light, green light system, where like every now and again, if people are like seeming to be slower on picking things up, I'm basically going to hit them with the, hey, is everyone okay? Do we need a second? I think I did it once or twice in 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. By the way, 7 Dudes for Sandpoint is on my YouTube channel if any of you are curious. I'm slowly trying to cut it down from a ridiculous amount of time to about less. Game loop says follows. Beholder describes a scene. There is a goal or objective that you have to do. Agents describe an action. Beholder determines the consequences. Whatever is there will respond in turn. Blah, blah, blah. Pretty standard flow of play. Nothing crazy. Not every action needs a challenge. There are a large amount of times in games where you'll see people like, I need to have them do a roll. They have not done a roll in a bit. Basic terminology. A day refers to patches of 1 or more 24-hour periods in the head, standard city time. Characters are expected to be competent enough to feed themselves and handle their basic necessities. Most can be hand-waved away. There's no fun in focusing on the nitty-gritty details of the day-to-day when they get in the way of the more interesting elements of the city. We play games to escape the grim reality of struggling to pay rent, remembering to get enough calories after all. Love that. Spend 1 or more days between sessions. You heal an amount of sanity equal to your calmness or focus, whichever is higher, and endurance and health. Okay. At a glance, calmness is like probably like being able to chill out, and focus is like hyper-focusing on it. 2 ends of the same spectrum. Nothing crazy. Endurance and health, probably like how well you can take a hit. If at least a week passes, you may fully heal. Forcing characters push on without all their resources can be exciting. This makes certain characters unable to participate because they're too injured for too long. A day that doesn't pass without issue will be made of a number of situations. Events, encounters, challenges, etc. Events are burst of action or interlinked scenes. Oh, are we, we're going after, World of Darkness rolls. Great plus skill, Zeke 3, Athletics 2, 5 total. Roll that many d10s for each number of this or higher, which is the difficulty. That counts as a success. Okay. For those who don't know, World of Darkness uses the exact same system. It is a set of d10s. You have a main stat. For example, it could be something like Wisdom. And then it is a follow-up stat. And you can, like, talk to the DM like, hey, could I do, like, a angle shoot for this? And then the DM would be like, yeah, or fuck no. So, like, in their example, strength, athletics, dexterity athletics is also an option. Oh, Boo's here. It's a very cool system. It is very, theater kid system. Which is good and bad. A strong concept is a 2-sentence wonder. You should be able to condense your character's unique traits, flaws, and the greatest virtue into 1 or 2 lines that explain everything. An AI in a humanoid robotic body, haunted by the duty that was forced on her. She cut her own strings and seeks to learn about the city. She must damn for her own future. A washed-up fixer who lost everything he worked for because of the selfish desire of another. He doesn't care what it takes. Vengeance will be his. That's a very, I guess attractive isn't the word I would use. But that's a very nice way of putting it. Interesting test. The 2-question test? Or the 2-line sentence test? Yeah. You will always find, like, a ton of very interesting and unique ways of, like, creating characters and stuff in all of these, like, fan-made TTRPGs for, like, all sorts of different stuff. There is a large amount of, like, very good lines that I've seen from games like this. It is one of the most attractive isn't the word I would use. Are you okay, Fork? You kind of just fell, and now you're just chilling there. She's alive, by the way. She did not, like, fall on her neck or anything. One of the other things I try to do during these is try to make a character for it. We're not going to do that in this case, because we're doing 3 different games. because one of them was trash. But if you guys have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them about the city, about any sort of this stuff, or just like whatever. Kind of details will heavily depend on the story your beholder wants to tell. A group of syndicate members is going to be expected to have a wildly different set of backstories than fresh hires at an all-corp branch. Killed mobster making a deal with a ghost, became an undead kingpin, likes tits. Obviously, like, you could make that prettier, but you get the gimmick, right? Rim would be a horror of human-made fears manifested as the familiar of a young witch. Regretting her death, she decided to change her ways and become one with the beauty of the world. Lots of questions that don't really matter for someone new. Foreign does not mean friendly. You can have important NPCs in your story that are not friendly to you. It's very, very important to do that. Also, it's very fun to, like, get the questions for these. Would your character take the stairs, the escalator, or the elevator, given the choice between the three? Your character's opinion on the trolley problem. What death affected your character the most? Determine character's primary sin affinity. Okay, we'll come back to that later, I imagine. Figure out what aspect of their life they struggle with most succumbing to. More than people who get mad being aligned with wrath. Surface level appear one of their secondary sins. Looking at a character like Heathcliff and Sinclair, you might be surprised to learn which one of them is more associated with wrath. Most important thing for making the fifth trumpet run smooth is a relationship map. This is so fucking important. There are so many games that I've seen where it's like we don't know fucking anybody. Because it's like the DM wants to have a ton of different NPCs of like different worlds and blah blah blah. And then it's like, cool, who the fuck are any of these people, you know? Character NPC ties, 4 stats: Fortitude, Prudence, Temperance, Justice. 1 stat, 1 trait at 4, 3 at 3, 4 at 2, 1 at 1. Okay. So, Fortitude covers physique and endurance. Prudence covers understanding and calmness. Temperance falls intuition and presence, along with conviction. Reflex, or Justice is focusing on reflex and focus, and that gives examples of different people that are like, have these things. Intuition looks juicy. Health is endurance plus 5, sanity is focus plus calmness. Okay. Character begins with 22 levels amongst their skills as they choose. Cannot be raised above 4. Sample skill spread would be 4 skills at 3, 4 at 2, and 2 at 1. Candy, 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 cookie. Suggested skill list. So is this the suggested skill list, or is this the skill list? Sin and push. Character sin is the ambition or lack thereof that drives their life, influences their outlook, and explains their behavior. A character might have multiple sins. Most people have histories that are messy and complicated, covered with mistakes and regret. But the one chosen to be a character's sin affinity is the one they struggle with most, the one that will constantly be threatening to tear them down back to the depths of their own heart. Because Frankie is still here, I'm going to go through all of these, and you tell me which one you believe your character is associated with the most. Wrath is associated with fire. The nature of fire is that of an indiscriminate and uncontrollable destruction that leaves nothing in its wake. Lust is a wish to spread a fragment of the self. Both a literal interpretation of carnal desire and a more metaphorical meaning, including the concept of wanting to spread part of oneself, such as knowledge, a thought, or a belief. Sloth is the state of being directionless, surrendering oneself to inertia and the will of others. It manifests as an unwillingness or refusal to change one's ways, or in one form of one who simply follows orders acting on behalf of another. Gluttony is similar to a plant, searching for nutrients, never to be sated by them as the roots continue to grow and search out a greater supply. One who consumes endlessly either for consumption's sake, or out of a never-ending hunger and reachable desire to feel full. Gloom is water. Sinking in deep, deep water, a sense of melancholy that is easy to sink into, difficult to pull yourself back out of. Water's suffocating pressure and the awareness of the futility of struggling. Pride is overconfidence, strong belief in one's infallibility, connected to creation, technological advancement. Envy is focusing on one's inadequacy compared to others or a sense of resentment at another's success. Grim is deeply associated with gloom. Okay, that's where things are going to start getting messy. Players are expected to deal unmodified damage. When a character takes damage, they put a slash through their health box. When no boxes remain unfilled, further damage becomes aggravated. Aggravated damage is taken and pulling marks off of a box. Fire track can be filled with aggravated damage, means the character is defeated. Probably gluttony. I could see that. Remember, you don't have to have, like, outward representation of it. Damage forms, blunt, pierce, slash. I would say greed, but that isn't there. Greed is not real. Greed is cringe. The problem with greed in the city is that greed is so entrenched into every form of existence that it is no longer a sin. It is just a way of life. Oh, Faye started streaming. And Digi too, I think. Well, Digi started like an hour ago, but... Damage not specified, assume red. Red is physical damage. White is mental damage. This hurts the mind. Sandy tracker, then rolls over to health. Black is a damage of the body and mind, deeply disturbing as well as dangerous. And then pale kills the soul. Oh, that's horrific. I love that. Targets the health tracker. The character either removes a health or sanity box as if the character never had it. It returns at the start of the next day. My ass doing true damage. Got it. For those curious, if Grim was in the setting of Project Moon, she would be immune to basically red damage and be hella weak to pale. Red damages physical, damages the body, white damages the mind, black damages both, and then pale damages the soul. Very much Mojito vibes. Characters may take a point of sanity damage, reroll up to 3 regular dice on a single roll. I love that. I love any mechanic in a TTRPG that just says, hey, your luck's shit, fix it. Sorry, I have to scare Fork. You cleaned my desktop, though. I'm very proud of you, dear. Character enters panic at the start of their turn. Fall under the control of the beholder until they regain their senses. Panic cannot use defensive skills? Sure. Push or spend sanity. See sin and push. Character with sin can elect to push, spending a point of sin to add 2 special sin dice to their pool. Push allows characters punch above their weight class when they need an extra boost. You cannot reroll this with sanity. Okay. Unique combat skill that character uses on each of their turns when panicked. Could be detrimental to allies, not beneficial to them. Smart. Allow your players to narrate their own panic. I think they want us to leave, Teddy. Love them too much for that, though. Help me make them stay. Character sanity tracker sold at X, and the character is equipped with an ego. Alright, this is where we get every single fucking status effect in the goddamn world. Alright. Bind, you lose reactive. Okay, that's simple. Bleed as a stack. Character with bleed use combat skill. They take red damage equal to their bleed, half bleed. Okay, so we're doing Runa. You can also try to remove it by burning Understanding Miss and Challenge 3. That's pretty low. I don't mind that. Burn as a stack. End of a round. All creatures with burn take red damage equal to burn, half burn. You can do the same thing and try to put it out. Charge, stacks, does nothing. Removed as a resource. Defense level up as a stack. X dice to the next defense skill. Okay. Defense paralysis. Removes X from their... Subtracts X dice from their thing. Okay. Fragile. Take 1 more damage from all attacks while inflicted with Fragile. Fragile applies after defenses. Indiscriminate targets randomly. Offense level down paralysis. Same thing. Overwhelming. Ignores resistant, endure, and immune defense levels. Defenses are treated as normal. Character can spend poise to get +2 to attacks. That's nice. Prone is prone. Protection is protection. Rupture is bonus damage. Take damage to sanity. Okay. Hitting a target with shaken and can remove 5 tremor to inflict defense paralysis. If they're hit by tremor burst. Effects on combat skills have an extra benefit when target creature with shaken. Tremors vulnerable or injury. Okay. So for Tremor, they basically have it set up so that you have to hit them, and once you get them past a certain threshold, you can choose to make them shaken, which basically sticks on them until something happens, and then you can burst it for a bigger effect. Okay. It's a little messy. It depends on how, like, long combat is. Did you already send it to Miku or no? Because if not, I will. I'm gonna send it to Crocus, though. For sure. That was fast as fuck, girl. I love you. I love the way you draw eyes. I don't have Miku. Miku! Miku, wake up! Miku, wake up! Miku! Miku! What you want? I have a thing to send you. Look at your DMs. That's why you guys can't trust me. I will cast Fat Your Tits. Character's armor represents protection from certain damage types. This one's actually very decently made. I'm very happy about this. She just picks whichever one she would have the most fun doing. Doer, take less damage. Normal, as written, weak, take less. Immune, you take 0. Resistant, you take half. Vulnerable, always aggravated. Okay. Most armor only have blunt protection, pierce protection, slash protection, then full normal protection from red, white, black, pale. Okay. Anywhere between 1 and 5. Okay, cool. Combat. That's what I was hoping for. This is definitely significantly more well-made. Props to Cinephon. I didn't know. I just sent her refs. Stop making Frankie cry. Stop making my Blorbo cry. What the fuck? Why'd Sammy not work? Oh, bridge is working. Alright, well. I will set a timer on my phone then. Weird. Damn, I was robbed. No, I did it. Okay, I followed a cool woman. Do it. She does a lot of stuff. Once you picked all this shit, you get 2 combat skills. You begin with 3 rather than lock the others play grow. Character is allowed to move any number of spaces on their turn unless character prevented from moving either due to a hostile NPC blocking their path or a negative status effect. Okay, well that's fine. Threat is how many spaces you are away. Threat 1 is adjacent, threat 2 is around 6 feet away, 3, 12, so on and so forth. Okay, I was driving when Miku's came in, fair. Got 1 skill slot, start your turn. NPCs with more than 1 can use more than 1, okay. Each combat skill has 1 coin. If it has more than 1 coin, a roll is made for each coin as a separate attack or effect. Each coin is considered part of the same skill slot. Okay, attack weight, how many targets, unbreakable, treat as winning the challenge regardless of the roll associated with the coin failed, succeeded. Static initiative is the standard stuff. Character speed returns with total levels in justice, levels of reflex breaking ties. And then athletics, okay. Or rolled initiative, take their reflex. NPCs take half their speed, roll 1d10, add this to the result of the d10, makes more dynamic initiative if you want more rolls. Okay. Discount Heathcliff. That's funny. 1 core passive, either 2 passives, or 1 passive and an ego gift. Significantly change a core mechanic of the game. Pyre's abilities skirt the line of defying the taboos of the city. Mayor's ability pushes body and prosthetics to pull off feats of desperation. Associated flaw with reputation that instead gives -2 dice penalty on social interactions, given with your related title. A lot of it just seems to be making rolls easier or harder. Allies represent a deep relationship you develop with entity or entities that will come to your aid in your time of need. Dice bonus are mixed success in some situations. I love anything that just says players can ignore this fucking roll. Appearance, different buffs. Defensive passes reduce harm you take. Resonance. So the question is, I'm guessing all of this is stuff you have to make yourself, which is, I consider a cardinal sin of TTRPGs because the more players have to think about stuff. Also lets me draw a card, fair. There is a large amount of effort it takes to bring players to a table, and it is only increased the more work that they have to do that is fully creative. I have worked with a lot of people in a lot of different stages in their life, and whenever I'm telling them, like, you can do whatever, they start just fucking dying on the table, basically. They don't know what the fuck to do. It's like choice paralysis gone crazy. So, like, you would have to know what you're doing to an extent and probably be able to guide people, or just do pre-mades and go from there. Like, I would say do pre-mades so that people know this is a game where people will fucking die. These are not characters that you should expect to live past this session. This is basically like testing you all out to do stuff. Hi, who you meet? End of each canto, characters undergo changes. End of each act, 3 to 4 cantos. Okay. So... distortions, blah, 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 manifesting ego. I guess the question is, how long do they expect a game to last? Because there are a lot of games where it's like, this is like one adventure and you're done. 3 to 5 hours, blah, blah, blah. Philosophy of challenge. Important parts, but also most difficult to navigate, is the custom nature of player combat skills, passive non-linear growth of abilities passive. The trumpet explores narrative difficulty and mechanical complexity of the challenges the players go up to increase. Actual numbers rarely do. How exactly do you show mounting stakes and challenges? Players might be rolling the same numbers against a capo they do about Backstreet Rat. Every system where players scale to fight bigger and stronger threats, they're never actually going up against something that's more difficult for their character to beat relative to their power. TFT strips away this artifice just as players roll numbers that they could scale through the game, but instead go consistently as show 3, 4, 5, 6, and max. I don't know how to feel about that. I do think that there is a part of everyone's monkey brain that says big number better. Beyond that, many sessions, especially out of many games, especially out of one session and then completely different characters in the next one. Should have 10 character sheets or switching like double cross. That's fair. So far, this is looking very well made, but it is also taking the skeleton of the World of Darkness game series, or not game series, game system. Is it just called the World of Darkness system? Is there like an actual name for it, or is it just World of Darkness? Storyteller system. Seeing is also to use storytelling, which is storyteller too, fair. This is definitely one of the significantly better setup games that I have seen in regards to the Project Moon, like, concept. It is definitely... I think the only, like, struggle point is players have to, like, make their own, like, abilities and stuff. And a lot of that is just, like, DM fiat. The D&D one sucked. So we're not going to talk about that one. This, very good. Once again, this is made by, what was his name? Cinephon? I shouted them out, Cinna and Pryor. Cinephon. Cinephon, he created some of this, and I imagine that there's, like, some other stuff that they worked on together. But, yeah. Finally, let's go to the Stars of the City TTRPG. Exception-based design versus universal design. True. I think you are just kind of info dumping, Rain, which I do not mind. I just wish it was about the game, rather than about, like, things adjacent to the game. Stars of the City, I looked over this a teensy bit with Faye, and we both fucking hated it. So we'll see how it goes. Has a Foundry module, which is pretty pog. Let's pull up this character sheet. I don't know why we have to have 15 different pages, but we have 15 different pages. Missions represent different chapters of your story. WTF with these beyond source material. Fair enough. Narrative and combat. Okay, it is that song. 2 to 4 hours, first mission campaign, short, punchy, 1 and 2 session adventure serving as the enticing incident. Cool. We'll just start with narrative play. Also, this takes forever to load, which is frustrating because there's like all these different subsections of subsections. Okay. Attempts. You determine the stat needed, difficulty, which represented by 1 to 3 dice, more dice, easier attempts. Roll a number of d10s equal to the number of dice the GM declares. If any of these dice are equal to or lower than the stat used, you pass. Otherwise, you fail. Is this a system that sounds familiar, Rain? Because it's not striking any chords with me. Gotta vanish and change my stuffs. Have a good stream. Thank you very much. We're nearing the end, hopefully, but we'll see. Stat X means an attempt of that stat with X dice as a baseline. Agility 2 means player makes an agility attempt with 2 dice. Scaling agility means the result will be based on how many dice are successful rather than pass-fail. Intellect Instinct means player can choose which of the stats to use. An asterisk such as Might 2 means the attempt is open for allies to help. Helping is cringe in this. So you can help out, but only if you are within 1 point of their score that they're using. Roll over or under. Equal to or lower than the stat used. And then helping, you can be no more than 1 lower than their own. Warhammer RPGs? Possibly, but it's D10s. I don't like how helping is, you can only help if you are within 1 point below them. Because it will mean that, like, there's a decent amount of time where homeboy's just fucked. If you fail an attempt or make risky actions, you can lose HP, unique punishments, blah, blah, blah. Heal anxieties and injuries. Speaking of TTRPGs, disappointed on the Gundam TTRPG. We will do that next week. DM it to me if it's free, and we will do it for next RPG Rabbit Friday. For every additional injury, increase the lowest die roll by 1 until they are all the same rank, basically. Excellence. You can burn it. If you would fail roll, re-roll a number of dice in the attempt equal to the excellence spent. Pretty simple. You can get them back through different things. Treasures are one-time use things that are eventually added to your kit. Fucking burn that shit. Rests. You have 2 rest actions which can be spent on any of the things below. Next, combat. This is a fucking nightmare. This is why they told you to do a Foundry module. Okay, so I'm going to explain it with this image above. Speed dice, high number go first. You will use skills, which use light. These skills have a mix of offensive and defensive dice, serious smaller motions. So basically, in the above image, Ishmael, the red-haired girl, is going first, followed by Gregor, followed by Steam Machine's first action. However, this is where clashes happen. Ishmael can clash with any of these because she has a bigger number. Roja can only clash with the 2 unless one of the higher ones is already attacking her. Then she can clash with that. The 5 can clash with the 4 and the 2, but not the 5, unless, it's swinging at her. It's dumb. Also, you have Light, which is a mechanic from Runa. Like, it has the whole clashing mechanics. One of the things that I keep seeing in Project Moon TTRPGs, not just these 3, is that they really like to do, I want to play Library of Runa with my friends at a table. And regrettably, that doesn't fucking work. They really want to simulate the yes, exactly. The problem is it doesn't fucking work. Because that's a whole simulation. That's already hard to do. Also, they add every status effect. They add fuck tons of everything. Ego skills. Not simulating the world, simulating the game. Yeah. So running away is a thing, blah, 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 which is dumb. Just play the game. Exactly. Okay, so, character creation. Fuck you, you have to go to a different thing to start. There are archetypes which modify your shit. You also have to assign your stats. 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. Simple. Go up to 8 as you level up, so there is always a 10% or a 20% chance of failure. Raw. And then you get bonuses if you meet certain thresholds. I do find it funny how there's only one for agility. Also, this is just Merceau beatboxing. White boys got it. That's all I gotta say about that. Yeah. Persona, blah, blah, blah. Affinity. I like simulation as a mind. Yes. I think any time where you have to simulate a game that requires you to have a Foundry module to make sure that doesn't make your brain break is a flaw. That being said, is a lot of stuff that simplifies that for Pathfinder, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Pathfinder is amazing. Service to stats. HP is 30 plus 10 times might. Okay, so minimum 40. Stagger resist 15 plus 5 times vitality. Okay. Abilities turn sides of your speed die to a max of d12. Okay. Max light starts at 3, increases at certain level thresholds. Each affinity corresponds to an offensive damage die type and either damage or staggered. When you create your character, choose a damage and stagger type to be your weakness. If you choose damage set affinity plus 2, you stagger set plus 1. For every point of vitality past the first, choose an ability to increase by -1. That could be written better, but that's whatever. Skills. Skill library. Innate modules are a set number of modules for each skill upon creation. Spare modules distributed at your will. Archetypes, right? Before we scroll through the archetypes, what are we expecting to see? I'm curious as to where your brain is going. Think less like job and more like characterization. I'll have Dawn here as the example, the hopeful, the techie, the big guy, the helpful one. There's the expert, the sadist, the upgraded, the engineer. That's probably the techie, right? Complexity, very high. That's great. Patent laws of the city get in the way of creativity. When you finish a major engineering project, roll a d4. On 4, gain excellence. On a 1, you've actually infringed on a patent. Fail to pay the reparations required by law, you begin to receive 3 warnings. After the 3rd claw will be sent after you. You will not survive attack against the claw. That's a bad mechanic. That is a bad mechanic. So excellence is like a reroll thing. It's basically hero points. So you're telling me there is a 25% chance. That sounds like high risk, high rewards. We will look at that next. 25% chance you get a reroll. 25% chance you have to pay a dude a fuck ton of money. Sorry ability. Your licensed grade tools and weaponry. You do not take attempts during downtime to work on mechanical projects don't involve anomalous parts. I'm assumed to be able to fill the paperwork required. I'll have to wait a maximum of 1 week for your invention to be procured by the Trace Association. +1 to machinery. Making an intellect, instinct, or persona at a +1 die. Regain use at the start of session. Gain 2 additional spare rank 1 modules, or each level 5, gain additional spare rank 2 module. Okay, so you can fucking schmooze shit around. Alright, sadist. Complexity low. Suffer 1 die to attempts to assessing the character of an individual. If you fail, gain excellence, and you're given an inaccurate assessment and must believe it fully. Have lol claw pwned you noob? No. That's specifically a lore thing for workshop guys. When you come across or create 1 or more corpses, that's a good fucking line. You can decide on one of the following. You find a useful item amongst the dead. You expertly remove body parts using augments for crafting or selling later. Eat a little snack. And if a body might have mutilated and get info on how they died. Oh, it's the ring finger. No, the ring has a lot more depth to it. Create a pretty art piece. Remove 1 anxiety. Next time it takes to use this ability is negligible as long as you have at least a moment apiece. Okay. You can eliminate a non-unique character if you sneak up close. You only need to make an attempt to sneak around unseen or assume to succeed in the execution. Good at subtlety up to the moment of kill, not so good at keeping the scene clean, and the evidence of the target's demise will be displayed throughout the area. Defensive die crits. Increase the elements bind and fragile inflicted by hits by 1. More like a ring wannabe, I guess. Yes. This is a chef of the backstreets of District W. She just fucking turns people into pies. Hopeful, expert, upgraded, the drone. the vagrant, the modified, the loyal, the commander, the egoist, the vengeful, the weary, the investigator. My, that's quite big. The famed, the researcher. Also, this guy is just a streamer. The wanderer, the mastermind, the forgotten, the lunatic, and the adept. All based on specific characters, mostly. I think like characters and like concepts that one could point at and go, it's that character. They do have a good spread, I won't lie. There's nothing really like streams out I am the medic of the group. Also, the complexity on some of these feels very strange. Outside of engineer, are there any others that are very high? Or even just high? Like, I don't think you have to have complexity. Low, medium, high. Come across someone enjoying the same benefits as your old life, -1 attempts to remove until you remove yourself or them from the area. Gain an anxiety if they have to stay with them. After such an encounter, gain excellence. The engineer is just fucking die, yeah. Well, researcher is also that. One major secret from your old life. One die when recalling information regarding your own faction. Blackmail using your chosen secret. Designate an object on a person to protect an object. Gain an anxiety. Protected object can be harmed or taken from you as long as it remains your person and you're non-capacitated. Upon encountering a non-human identity of extraordinary power size, overwhelmed with a mix of awe, envy, and excitement, gain excellence first time this occurs mission. -1 to all attempts to defy the creature. Declare an all or nothing before making a dangerous attempt, guaranteed to cause you some level of harm. If you do so, you suffer no consequence for success. If you fail, you take double or increase the narrative consequences for your character. Cannot gain anxiety as a result of encountering dangerous enemies or scenarios. Once per mission, when you make an attempt, ignore your anxieties. High risk, high reward. When you inflict an ailment on self, you may ignore your safeguard. Okay. Once per turn, when you inflict an ailment on one or more targets, you may increase the amount inflicted by 1 and gain 3 of that same ailment. If you end a scene with 5 or more of an ailment, gain a safeguard or resolve at the start of the next scene. If you end a scene with 9 or more of an ailment, gain 1 strength. Okay, what does safeguard and resolve do? Taking stagger. Stagger failing is a -1 for every resolve. Remove at the end of the scene. Take a debuff for ailment, nullify or reduce the boon by 1. Okay. Also, like, I'm really tired of having every fucking status effect in the game. Just because it appears on one goddamn unit in Limbus Company does not mean that we have to have it on every single thing. Skill Eagle Library contains a list of available bases. Add modules are pieces used to make your skills unique. Okay, so this just lets you have basic abilities and then customize them. This feels like a lot of bookkeeping, so that's why they give you digital character sheets. Alright, feats. General feats, no requirements meant for any character. On kill, regain a light. Like, this is a lot, right? Like, it's not just me looking at this through blood-tinted glasses. It's a lot, right? Trigger blaze against them and gain an emotion point. Stop putting random status effects on shit without reminder text, please. It is not hard to just, like, do a hyperlink for Blaze to what the fuck it does. Or like a comment or something. Ego. I think I remember skimming through this and it was just a fucking lot. We also have a new ego for Roja. Create the base for the skill. Base must have a cost of 2 or higher. Set motion cost equal to 6. Add the following modules to the ego. Okay, so we're making an ego, adding it from a different thing, and going from there. Okay. While not the most engaging adventure, this serves as a solid test for players and GMs. They really walked in the door and said, I don't need this foot, do you want it? So it's a dry run, yeah. Have all the reminder text at the beginning of the character chapter. Did we? Like, do this for everything! Make it easier! Okay, if the lore just links to the fucking wiki, we're ending stream. Okay, no, they made a fuck ton of pages. I don't think that they were written like fucking commandments, but... Wings, backstreets, the different corps, what their gimmicks are, blah blah blah. Fixer shit, the different associations, they are in the correct order, so that's good. 7, 8. If you don't have information on the group, say we do not have information on this, do it at your own risk, basically. The pinky. During the entirety of Honglu's Canto, we just learned about this. If you're dropping the project, that's fine. I think that this would have been better just linking to the wiki. Alright, let's look at a generic guy. Confident. When one of the hooligan's enemies are defeated, recover 1 light. I think that this is definitely one of the weaker ones, but also, like, there's so much fucking random bullshit. Okay, let's look at Zan. I'm sorry, it gets 4 dice, cool. You have the fucking House of Spiders here! Also, those motherfucker, the apprentices? Urban Nightmare? Yeah, probably. You have the House of Spiders, and you're telling me that you didn't put shit for the pinky. You have been adding to this. But you didn't fucking add one of the factions. I get it, right? Like, it's a lot. You're probably not, like, looking over stuff. But, like, also he said earlier he wasn't going to add shit that was going to be spoilers. This is the biggest spoiler of Limbus Company Canto 9 Part 3. This is fucking Abraxas Chariot Sinclair. This doesn't do anything. Doesn't do that. Followers, Pierre. Why is Pierre a follower? Pierre's a little shit. Christ. Well, we had one good one, y'all. Alright, let's see who we can raid into. We have 8 for Faye. I'm going to delete explode chat. 2 for DJ, 4 for Rennie. DJ it is! Congrats, DJ. Okay, so, starting on the May 1st, which is... We might move it to... Yeah, starting on May 1st, is when the pseudo-donathon is going to happen. It is just going to happen during weekdays. Additional streams on the weekends are not going to count for it. I'm basically going to be doing it as a full-time job while I'm job hunting. And then for all of that, yeah. Rate them all on 1 to 10. Like the 3 games that we went over. Sure. Get up. I'll back up. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we are. Manager's Handbook, -1 out of 10. It is flawed in every single way that could be physically possible for a D&D 5e supplement. It is completely changing the rules of the game. It is using the concept of D&D 5e to air quote simplify it. It is not built to properly add anything related to the Project Moon verse into it. It is trying to do one-for-one conversions. Actually, I can probably best show you with... Yeah. Like, everyone's played D&D. I think everyone who is a nerd has played D&D. What the fuck does any of this mean? Also, all the things are like, it has to make an attack roll, but it doesn't, like, explain what bonuses it gets or anything like that. It's very ineffective. There is a large amount of things that they added because they thought it would be cute, and in reality it's dumb. Like AEDD, which is Shock Centipede. If you get water spilled on your armor, you take 1 true damage, not counting the other 4 types of damage that are in this. And then you, basically lose 4 turns. Everything can be translated to EOD that's never held up. Exactly. Also, when you try to do a full conversion, also don't do any conversion. 5th Trumpet, 9 out of 10. I would have to play it to give it, like, a full rating. Very excited for this. They do stream it on Saturdays, it looks like. But that's Cinephon. I can shout them out one more time. Flash, shout out. Cinephon, I think that is. Yep. But they do it. They've done like hundreds of hours. 5th Trumpet, A Shining Ray of Light. Maybe. yeah, it's very good. It's built off of the storyteller system. Good balance of like gameplay and stuff. Only thing that I would consider like a cardinal sin on it is that players have to make their own passives and abilities, which I'm never a fan of in games because it's already hard enough to like get people to play a game. Stars of the City, I'm gonna give a 3, because I think that it has potential. The only problem is that the author is not putting in the effort for it. I do not think that it has been play tested. If it has, I am happy to stand corrected and watch it. If you would like a playtester and someone wants to reach out to him, I'm more than happy to do that. I'll fucking do it on stream. Um, but I think that's going to have a lot of problems of like there is so much of like you are trying to simulate Runa, but you're not doing it correctly. Ooh, can you look over there? I'm gonna take a picture of Boo's ear for just heavily rated deviant for. Perfect, Boo. Thank you. The build a monster WoD game, possibly. But it just has a lot of like players have to add additional work in order to make it playable, which I think is always like a hump, I guess. If I'm being more cruel, I would give Fifth Trumpet probably a 7.8 out of 10. I think it is definitely one of those things where like my actual score would be modified by how I play it. But if we get to 600, I will be doing a game of that. I'll be dragging people to do that. For now, however, my throat hurts, and we are going to raid into DJ. We are just a smidge under 3 hours. All the abnormalities, no better than I, probably. Next stream, we're still probably going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We might skip Wednesday, just so I have a little more break. Good stream, but thank you, Dad. We are going to just try to hammer out a fuck ton of ego draws. That's probably going to be the plan. We're probably going to try to get 12 done during the Donathon. You're gonna go out in a second, man. But thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a wonderful day, and if you didn't have a wonderful day, I hope tomorrow treats you a teensy bit better. We may do a small stream on Sunday. I debating on it. Perfect timing, Twitch, Lamau. What else? What else? What else? Yeah. If anyone has ideas for things to do on my Donathon, or any questions about that, please ask in the Discord. And for everyone else, we do have a new emote, which is Absolute Bunema. I will post here. I did not mention it because I was wondering if any of you were going to notice it, and no one did, and made me say it. But thank you all for watching.